President, why are you attacking Senator John McCain 7 months after his death?
I'm very unhappy that he didn't repeal and replace Obamacare. As you know, he campaigned on repealing and replacing Obamacare for years, and then he got to a vote and he said thumbs down, and our country would have saved $1 trillion and we would have had great health care. So he campaigned. He told us hours before that he was going to repeal and replace, and then for some reason, I think I understand the reason, he ended up going thumbs up. And frankly, had we even known that, I think we would have gotten a vote because we could have gotten somebody else. So I think that's disgraceful. Plus, there are other things. I was never a fan of John McCain, and I never will be.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we're going to talk about the media's latest outrage, and that is what you just saw, which was Donald Trump speaking negatively about John McCain. Now, I don't see why there's really an outrage aside from the obvious, the media just being biased to the left, anti-Trump, wanting to get Trump on anything, trying to find any little thing to attack Trump on, to attack conservatives on, to attack anybody that is not lined up to their whole line of thinking. That is the whole point here, in my humble opinion. Outside of that, I don't see a real reason to attack what Trump said, because what he said here is correct. Aside from his personal opinion about John McCain, personally not liking him, what he said about McCain is true. Why would you be on your deathbed in the Senate knowing you're dying and just not retire? What is the purpose? It's because you're trying to be vindictive. You're trying to be spiteful against the president, and really you're endangering not only your constituents in Arizona, but also all American people. Why would you say, yes, I'm going to vote in the affirmative to repeal and replace Obamacare, but then once you get there, you say, well, nah, I don't want to do that. I'm going to vote against it. So now Obamacare is still here. Okay, now, fortunately, we were able to get the individual mandate repealed. That'll come into effect next year. If you did not have health insurance last year, you still got to pay a penalty this year. But next year, that won't be the case. So at least we did get that done. But he was a thorn in Trump's side throughout his end of life. And it was unfair. He had a personal vendetta against Donald Trump. And he was saying all kinds of things that didn't make any sense, talking about, oh, Trump is vulgar, all this, that, and the third. John McCain is probably, or was probably, the most vulgar person in the U.S. Senate, keeping it all the way 1,000. That's just how he was. He had racist jokes, or jokes that were considered racial. He wasn't really a guy that could talk about somebody else not having a high moral standard to themselves. This guy just wasn't really that. Now, people were saying that you can't talk about John McCain because he got shot down in war. He's a war hero, all this, that, and the third. And that's fine. I don't take his service away from him. He did do that. So, hey, good on him for his military service. That doesn't mean that he's a great person. Just because you're a veteran does not mean you're a great person. All that means is you get commended for that particular thing. But that particular thing does not determine the rest of your life. Personally, I'm glad that he didn't win in 2008 when he ran with Sarah Palin against Barack Obama. And the reason why I say that is because he probably would have done some of the same things but Barack Obama did, and that would have been seen as conservative values. At least now we know that it's not, and we can correctly attribute it to the left and also the deep state swamp, which he was a part of. I'm glad that he's gone. I wish he would have just retired rather than dying, honestly. I don't wish death on the man, but it's good that he's not there anymore. Not only John McCain, but also other losers like Jeff Snowflake, also from Arizona, who served right alongside John McCain. What's the guy's name in Tennessee? I forget his name right now, but I put that in the box. What's that? Bob Corker. People like that. Paul Ryan, another one. I'm glad that they're all gone, honestly. And I think this is part of the process of draining the swamp. A lot of impatient people are saying that Trump should have drained the swamp sooner. We should have a perfect government right now. But come on. I mean, you're talking about a thing that's been around for a very long time. Corruption runs very deep, not just in people that are in high-level positions in the U.S. government, in the Senate, House, or in the White House itself, but also the consultants, the advisors, the NGOs, all kind of people that have ancillary roles in Washington, D.C. and worldwide. it's a very complex thing to actually untangle. But if you can get some of the big dogs in there out, then I'm all for it. Now, I understand Meghan McCain. She's come out and said that, oh, Trump talks about honorable men because he'd never be an honorable man, something like that. I'm not quite sure of the exact words, but I'll place that in the box if you want to see it for yourself. I don't understand her viewpoint because that's John McCain's daughter. Of course, if that's your dad and he died and you look at him as some kind of hero, you're going to defend him. That's a natural thing. But just because Meghan McCain defends her father does not mean that she is right. It just means that she is being a woman, number one, and number two, a daughter. That's her father. Okay. It's simple as that. But that doesn't really mean anything. At the end of the day, I agree with Trump. And at one point, I was trying to not agree with him because I was trying to be like, well, you know, John McCain was a war hero. But I had to look at him for what he was really doing. What did he actually do to advance the cause, to advance conservatism in the country? Why was he in office on his deathbed? Why not just retire? Why not allow someone else to come in there and take your place? Is it because you wanted to vote in the negative to anything that Trump put out there while still being in the Senate? You wanted to be the block vote. It's like you were with Obamacare. Is that what's going on? It kind of reminds me of the Ruth Bader Ginsburg. 85 years old, you got 1 foot in the proverbial grave. You should just retire right now. I predict that Ruth Bader Ginsburg will retire if and when Trump gets reelected. Because right now she's trying to hold out. If she can wait until Trump were to lose in 2020, then she could retire and then be replaced by a liberal person. I don't know, Christian Gillibrand, Beto O'Rourke, all these different people. She can just be replaced by one of them, so it'd be a liberal person in there. So it would not be an overwhelming conservative majority. That could be the reason. She could be a workaholic. I'm not really sure. But that appears to be what's going on. I think that was definitely the case with John McCain. So anybody want to talk about Trump is bad or anybody's bad for talking about John McCain negatively, please. This guy was not a good guy, racially insensitive. He's the kind of guy that the left would hate if he were on the right. His personality alone and what he did by staying in the Senate, although he was dying for like 2 years, that right there will be enough to put him on their terrible person list. They would attack him every day on the news. But because he was against Trump, that's all that really matters. Yes, he was a conservative in name only, Sino, Dino, Rhino, whatever you want to call him. He was that, yes, but he was against Trump, so they support him. And then they want to use that, when I say they, I mean the media, then they want to use that as evidence of them being nonpartisan, bipartisan, not biased against conservatives. They're not biased against you if you agree with them. If you are locked up with their anti-Trump, never Trump, anti-new conservative movement, then you're all good. If you're against that, then you're all bad. It don't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, independent, regular person, child. That's just pretty much how they operate. But that is pretty much all I got. And what say you? Do you think that Trump was right to come out against John McCain in a series of tweets and also in the clip you saw at the very beginning of this video? If you think so, please explain to me why. Do you think he was wrong for what he said? If so, please explain to me why. Why was he wrong for saying things that are actually true? And why was he wrong about his opinion about not liking John McCain? What was there to like about the man? I mean, you tell me, since I don't know, in the comments below. And whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.